not gonna waste time. We're not gonna waste time. We're supposed to be alive in the tube of YouTube very soon. We're gonna wait to see if it's broadcasting live. The last time I had some kind of issue with that. Yeah, and it takes a little bit to start tonight. Oh, it's starting now. It's starting now. So we should be, broadcasting live. Yeah, we should be live on YouTube. Boom! We're back for the Truman Show, episode 122. Feel highly favored, as always, being with Santos Bonacci tonight, Saturday Night Live on the Truman Show with Santos. How are you, Santos?
Great, brother. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. Better than most. And I have a very, very special guest tonight. Lily is here with us to for the next 2 hours in that hangout. Also, she has questions about astrology and all that, so it's going to be a good time to establish a great connection, to nourish the connection, because the connection's already established. I've been looking at Lily. I discovered her, but I said it in the other Truman Show we did together the other week. We did something together, me, you, and DVG, and that's what I said. I discovered Lily in her video on YouTube. She talks about astrology a lot, and she's very, very knowledgeable in astrology, and I was impressed at the way she speaks and everything, so that's what attracted me to her. Very great mind, Lily, and I seen that as soon as I got on your video. It's something, greatness, you recognize that when you see it, that's for sure. And you're great.
You, friend.
So
thank you.
I can feel that. So welcome here tonight. And that's it. Tonight we have a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about for sure. It's always, very... we don't waste our time, and we make sure that we have great content. And tonight we're going to talk about the periodic table of elements to start, because I always been a very, very big fan of science. I always been fascinated by science in my college years and when I was in high school and all that. So it's always something that attracted me, but I always looked at it in the program mind, with the program mind before. So now I'm very curious to see that table unfolding with all the elements, but with my awake state that I am now. So, with a more clear point of view on it, with a more awake mind or something. So I'm sure Santos can tell us a lot of stuff about it. Like always, he's a great teacher. That's why we have here. I think it's no secret for nobody. So, Santos, if you want, you can go on. And after I have other subjects, we'll just wait and we'll bring this on after. No problem.
Yeah, for sure, brother. Okay, so we're looking at the periodic table. I think I'll share my screen. That would be a good start. We're going to have a look at some interesting things about the periodic table, eh? How's that?
Yeah.
All right, so first of all, there's the table there, and it's just impressive how, can you see that?
Yep, we see it.
All right, great. So these are the so-called elements, L being electricity, okay? These are the different rates of electricity. That's why they are still called elements, simply because they are electrical, okay? Now, an element is not the same as a compound. Water is a compound. It has two elements, hydrogen and oxygen. So it is made of elements, but it is a compound because it has more than one. So these, though, are the basic elements, and really there are only... I suppose the number goes up to 94 plutonium, and then you can see here that they've got up to 118 of all these elements that are sort of being accepted as elements, and a lot of those are man-made. Okay, so, but generally, we're looking at about 94, 95 elements. Okay, so now first thing you notice is that the table is 18 wide. Okay, 18. elements wide, and that is because we're looking at the key numbers of 9, 18, 27, 36. 36 gives you 360 degrees. So,
and hold on, just to make a little short statement, also the 18, like you're saying, it's 3 times 6, and I was thinking the other day why the age of majority is 18 in Quebec and Canada, wherever. It's all 18, so why 18 years old? You know, that's another thing I was wondering. I was going to talk to you about.
Yeah, good. There's a lot in that,
yeah.
and those numbers have to do with Saturn and Jupiter are the timekeepers. We know, of course, the sun is the timekeeper, and the moon. We know that they keep time. That's obvious. But the real timekeepers in the astrological system are Saturn, Jupiter, and the big boys. Okay, like Uranus, for instance, 84 years. Now that is a processional number. Okay, so we won't go deeply into that, but I'm going to bring out some interesting things. Okay, let's have a look at some interesting things that I've discovered. And I know there's a lot in here. It's infinite, but what I've discovered is the 4 main elements of your body, which make up 99% of your body, are hydrogen, which is number 1. Let's have a look at that. If you can see my, there's hydrogen, number 1. So its number is 1. And then, of course, these 3 elements here, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, and they are all in a row, 6, 7, and 8. Now, these 4 elements, out of all the elements in the periodic table, actually are prominent in religious themes, okay? And the animals that are prominent in religion are always the serpent, the lamb, the goat, and the cow, yeah? Okay, well, when we look at these elements, when you add the number of hydrogen, number 1, with carbon 6, and nitrogen 7, and oxygen 8, you come to 22. And those are the number of the amino acids in your body. 22 is very important. So 98% of your body is made up of these 4 elements, and they all add up to 22, okay? Now, of course, there's 22 tarot cards, and there's all of these expressions like catch 22, and we know 22 is very, very important. So that's the first thing we notice. But what people don't normally notice is that the elements are celebrated in motifs. And you'll always see the most prominent animal in religious motifs is the serpent. Well, hydrogen is rooted in the word hydra. Okay, and the hydra is the serpent. So the most common animal and the most common element is hydrogen and the serpent. Then we come to carbon. Carbon is actually an anagram for cabra, which is the word for goat in many languages. Carbon, cabra, and that's the goat. Nitrogen is the lamb, and oxygen, of course, is ox, the bull. Where do we get the lamb from nitrogen? Well, it's easy, simple. Nitrogen is the first 2 letters of nitrogen, Ni, actually are the latter part of the word ignite. Okay, to ignite, igni is fire. Okay, and nitrogen, which should have an IG in front of it, ignitrogen, is the fire element, and the lamb is the fire. Carbon is the earth element, and the goat, Capricorn, is the earth. And oxygen, the ox, is the air element of Libra. Okay, so now what we've got is we've got 4 four signs of the zodiac. We've got Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, and Libra. Those are the four cardinal signs that make up the cardinal cross, and these four elements are actually partnered up with these four cardinal signs. So nitrogen, number 7. Remember, in Revelation, the Lamb has 7 seals because it's nitrogen, number 7. Igni. Igni is the Lamb. Igne is another way of saying lamb. Okay, Agnes, Ignis, Igneous, fire. So that's Aries. Hydrogen is the Hydra, which is the Hydra, or the serpent, is a constellation that is next to Cancer. It's actually, the head of the Hydra is in Cancer, and that's hydrogen, which is water, which is the serpent, which is Cancer. And then the ox, of course, is in Libra, and Capricorn is the goat. So you've got all those elements. Hydrogen is expressing water, carbon, earth, nitrogen, fire, and oxygen, of course, ox is air. So we have the four most common elements, the four most common animals, bar none. There are no other animals you will never be able to squeeze. Maybe the lion, but you will never be able to squeeze in any religions throughout the universe 4 more common animals than the serpent, the lamb, the goat, and the cow. Jesus is the good shepherd, Christ, and Krishna is the good cowherd. And so we see all of these gods like Thor with his cows, Jupiter, Zeus, and his bulls. We see Mithra and his cows. So it's the element of oxygen. So now the other thing which impresses me about the periodic table is when we go to the last element, we come to well, the last in my mind. I take 94 here. Can you see 94, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so that is named after Pluto, you see. Now, 93 is named after who? Neptune, Neptunium.
Uranium. Oh, my.
Yeah, and 92 is uranium. So let's have a look at this. When you go to the board here, we'll find something quite amazing. This will, it impresses me. I don't know about most of the listeners, but this is the sort of stuff that grabs me, and I see patterns. Where you see patterns, then you start to see form, and you start to see shape, and you start to see creation unfurling and how it really works. What I've done is I've started at the 85th element, and I'm going to show you that whoever conspired to put all the planets in order in the periodic table in its respective order, and I will show you how all those planets line up. Not just Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, which are they're the invisible planets, and they are the outer lying planets. This one was discovered in, say, 1781. Neptune was discovered in 50, somewhere there, and Pluto in 1935. And so that's why they named this these elements uranium, Neptunian, and plutonian. Now, if we go back, what we're going to find is all the other planets are also in line. And this is the astrological order, because the moon is always first. Why? Because her orbit is 28 days, so she's the shortest. Pluto's orbit is 250 or 248 years, and he's the last one. So we've got Mercury 88 days, Venus 225, Sun 1 year, and year means Yah Ram, Jehovah the Ram, because that's the sun, the ram in the sky. Mars is 2 years, Jupiter's 12 years, and Saturn is 30 years. So, do we see this order? Well, yes, we do. And let's have a look at that, please, shall we? So we'll just, first of all, we'll just wipe this off, and we'll put the names of the elements. So let's have a go. And you will start to see what I see on the periodic table. So let's go back to, we're starting at 85, shall we? 85. It's called astatine. Well, let's write down astatine. Okay. What's, can someone help me with 80?
Radon.
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 Beautiful. And radon is a what they call, look down here, and you see it's a halogen. Okay, now, when you look at the word halo, it comes from, rooted in the Greek word for light and salt. Okay, so these are salt mineral elements, and they are light producing. Look at this. Neon, they make neon lights out of that. Helium, argon, number 18, krypton, xenon, and radon. So now we've got radon, and I'm going to show you how this is mercury, okay? And astatine is the moon. Then we come to 87, and we have francium. So francium is supposed to be Venus. Well, how do we get that? Well, we'll see, won't we? And look at this. Next, we're looking for the sun. Radium. Gold.
Ra. Beautiful Ra.
Yep, radium. Dium means God, by the way.
I knew there was something. I knew there was something with that without knowing.
Yeah. 89. Actinium. Now, if you're thinking ahead, you will have already worked out absolutely all the planets are in line, from the moon, starting at 85, all the way to 84. The 10 planets, they are all in a row, all there, just sitting there. For me, like dog's testicles, but for other people who don't appreciate words so much, maybe not. Now, number 90, thorium. And we've got for Saturn, we've got here 91, protactinium.
Protactinium.
Alrighty, so let's just now jump back on to the my screen, and let's have a look at what we've got, shall we? So this one's a no-brainer. So most people will just have to agree with that, because Uranus is uranium, Neptune is Neptunium, and Pluto is plutonium. Now, do you think that someone did this? Once I show you that these elements are actually, in fact, the 10 planets, do you think that some geniuses conspired to do this, or do you think the elements are disposed in such a way that everything is syncretic when you pay attention, and it just harmonizes because the universe is harmonious?
It's divine. The whole thing is very divine.
Yep. Okay, so let's go back from here, shall we? 94, Pluto, plutonium, the 10th planet. 9th planet. Now, by the way, this is in the order of astrology, because why? Because this is the true order. This is, in fact, the true order. We know from astrology that the moon is the first lady, Mercury second, then Venus, then the sun, then Mars, then Jupiter and Saturn. Everyone who is learned and reads books knows this order. They've seen it many, many, many times. This is the order of the planets. So as we go back, we come to Prota. Prota. Now, Prota, and you can see also the word act in here. Act and Prota-actinium. Okay, now, Prota is Saturn because he is the prototype. He is the first. So in mythology, Saturn is Prota because he is the first father. He is the grandfather of all atoms because he is Chronos, time. And whatever appears in time, he is the one with his sickle, the old man Saturn, and his scythe, who actually is the death grim reaper. So he gives birth in time and he destroys in time. Now, when we look at hydrogen, you'll notice that hydrogen, also the most common isotope of hydrogen is called what? Protium. Protium. And that's interesting because 99% of hydrogen in the universe is the isotope of protium. And that also looks very much, so the first element, hydrogen, is actually called protium. Now, not a lot of people know this because they just say generally it's hydrogen, whereas it's protium. And so Prota, you get words like protocol, prototype, that's Saturn, simple. Now, Saturn has a son, Jupiter, Zeus. Kronos has a son called Zeus. And his other name in Nordic is Thor.
Thor.
Yeah. The Taurus fields of Thor, Taurus field. Because Jupiter is the god of gods. Mars is the god of action. Actinium. Mars is martial, action. It's the planet of action. Therefore, appropriately, Mars gets to act in actinium. The sun is Ra. Ra, God, Dium. It's also very close to the word radius. Ra, Deus is Ra, God. Ra, Dium. Whether you put an M there or an S, doesn't matter. I've showed how radius comes from Ra, the radius of a circle, because when you do that, you get a radius. Okay, so radium.
That's why we listen to the radio.
Is the sun.
That's why we listen to the radio.
That's right, radio. That's why Marconi called it a radio, Ra, God, radio, because he said it vibrates. It's a vibration. Radiate, radio, radium. This also, they all vibrate because these are all different rates of vibration. Francium. That's a no-brainer. That's Venus. Venus is Isis. Everywhere you go in France, you see, like Notre Dame. Who's the Dame? Well, it's Isis because that is a temple devoted to Isis. So all of these Isis themes. Paris means for Isis. Paris. Para. For Isis. Paris. Okay, so France has always been Venetian. Simple. Mercury, radon. Well, Mercury is the imitator of the sun, radium. So radon, Mercury, the little sun, which is sometimes called Ra as well. Mercury is called Ra. Yes, the sun is Ra, and so is Mercury, because Mercury is always close to the sun. Okay, and then we have astatine. Well, that's a no-brainer. Asta is Astra, which is the star, which is the moon. And whenever you see this "ine" on the end of it, it's interesting because not many elements have I and E on the end of it like this. This is a very unique element. Teen, well, Magdalene, Helene, Celine, all of this "ine." So if you just took that out, that T out of there, you've got Astra-ine. That's the moon, guys. There's no doubt about this. This is the 10 elements
No
of the
doubt there.
periodic table,
Yeah.
and they are all in a row.
But you know, you were talking about the first name was Astartine, I think. It flashed in my head. I was thinking about, for some reason, aspartame. Okay, but why do they choose that name, like, to describe that product, like aspartame? Like, why that aspa? You know, it's not a word that you find in the dictionary. Like, normally it's the word that they have made up for the product. No. So does it have to do with some, like, it's maybe just me making things up?
No, those guys, they actually do think about the words that they coin, okay?
Yeah.
And they do put radicals in their words. Radicals are syllables that have meaning, and that's what I'm actually teaching in astrotheology, that you don't look at words. You look at the radicals, which are monosyllables, okay, which is usually 2 vowels and a consonant. Usually it's just 1 vowel and a consonant, but sometimes it's 2 vowels and a consonant, or sometimes even 2 consonants and a vowel, but it's a syllable. And so what they do is they make that. So aspartame, you know, they will have, that could be a word composed of 2 different words or 3 different words, but rest assured they are doing this, okay?
Yeah,
now, just a couple of more quick things. Just to pay attention, they may not mean anything to anyone, but it's worth pointing out about the periodic table. I'm sharing my screen. Can you see the periodic table there?
No. Not yet.
Oh, there you go. Should be now.
Yep.
All right. So a couple of things that really stand out to me when I look here, I see these things so clearly. Look at this. Helium is number 2. Okay. Now, we also mentioned that the lion is a very common motif in religions and so forth. Well, have a look at that, and you know that the sun is Helios, okay? So we've got hydrogen, water, and then we've got a halogen, a light element, bringing light, called helium. Well, that's the sun, and that's the sun in Leo, and that's Helios, that's the lion, you see. So helium is probably the second most common element in a lot of the, say, starry objects, and a lot of the out there in the universe. They have detected that helium is also common. So there's another one of the animals. Now, when you come to lithium, how about that? Lithium is number 3. Lithium is, lithos means stone. Okay, so now we have 3. The number 3 gives you the foundation of a stone, whereas hydrogen is just like one element with one electron. Helium is 2, and then lithium, the stone. Now, what else is there to notice? The other thing I want to bring to attention, sodium, which comes from salt, which is the pillar of salt motif, and Sodom and Gomorrah, and it is very interesting that it has a rate of 11, and look at that atomic number there, 22. So 11 multiplied by 2, there is 22. So this, notice the name of sodium is Na. That gives you the word for nature, natural, nation, and everything that is natural, which has salt. So carbon and sodium is a very important element. And so the number 11 also has importance, and it has the idea of 2 1s, which is 2, which is duality, which is what salt does. Salt is that element that you know, makes bodies, and hence it is a polarized element. Magnesium, number 12. This is to do with magnetism. Magnesium is very, very highly magnetic, and it's number 12. And the other one that stands out is argon, 18, which is 666. Now, argon is 1% of our air that we breathe has argon in it, and it is the carrier of all other elements. Without argon, the universe cannot function. And without carbon, which is 6 in the periodic table, or 666, 6 neutrons, 6 protons, and 6 electrons, there cannot be a universe. So carbon is number 6, argon is number 18, 666, and argon is absolutely the carrier of all other elements. It's like a glue in the universe. And argon comes from Argos, which is the boat, which is the bark, which is the carrier. And so you see the 666 motif is actually dealing with argon, the carrying element. All right, now I'm going to leave it at that, and perhaps do you know, have another go at this, because we've already spent half an hour, and we've got a lot of other questions and things to do.
But the next question is going to pop out of that one too, because it's about element number 29, copper. Copper and water. That's what I want to bring you on, because there's lots of stuff being said about water. What is the best water to drink, because it's being depleted a lot, O2 depleted and all that. So and you recently came on Facebook and you posted stuff about copper that was very, very good to drink, in copper. So I would like you to extend on this after.